Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Right Royal Jam. This is a bit of a on the spot impromptu live. We didn't plan it. We've just decided we're going to go over the shocking and very revealing. Hello, Lady Letitia. The
Hello.
very revealing video with Paula about the Maids interview. So she discusses Meghan and Harry and what she saw in the house. I just want to say hello to Paul M. Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing
You
fine.
okay?
Having me.
It's,
Yay.
it's exciting to dissect it. I've been waiting for this for a while. I did post it on the community page as well, so you guys can actually watch it. There's a link to Paula's interview if you haven't seen it already. I'm sure most of you have. And Lady Letitia's joining us tonight as well. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. I watched a little bit of it, so this is going to be exciting to see the video.
And I thank you for joining us as well. I know it's all really short notice. We were like, okay, we'll do a live. That's fine. We're going to start a little bit late here, but that's okay. I'm sure people can catch up. So yeah, I watched it, I listened to it, and I was like, oh, okay. So the kid thing is brought up quite a bit, and
I
not
brought it up.
seeing
I
the
brought it
kids.
up because,
Mm,
and the thing I brought it up to be fair, because, in the first interview, I brought it up and she got upset because I wanted her to tell me, well, I'm sure you played with the kid. And she said that the only time that she saw a kid, it's his cousin's, Harry's cousin's child, and the kid was like a toddler kind of thing. And
mm.
then, in the first interview, I was like, but you must have seen something. She said, no, there was nothing. There was not even a car seat. There was nothing in the rooms, unless they took them out of the room and then waited for us. I mean, it's just she didn't see them. So the next thing, because the time frame she was there, she was part of the household staff. There were a lot of staff coming and going around the time when she was supposed to be heavily pregnant with
Mm.
Lily, you know
Right.
Wow.
Mm.
So this is why I asked her, because I know when she worked there. And I can't tell you guys because, of course, like exact period, but she was there when Meghan Markle was supposed to have been heavily pregnant. So this is why I asked her again and again. The thing is that Ron edited so perfectly, so I don't sound so insistent, but I was.
Well, you have to be, I think, just to get everything straight and the facts straight,
Mhm.
because you don't want to miss any
No,
information. I mean, who's watched it in the chat so far? There's about 85 people in the chat. Have any of you actually watched it? Put a one in the comment section. It's a small segment, isn't it? How long is it? How many minutes is
yeah,
it?
the problem, she was supposed to give me half an hour, right? But
Yeah,
what happened
yeah.
is at the very end, I got into this echoey thing and this stupid thing. And
Oh,
I kept her for almost 17 minutes, trying to fiddle back and forth to see if I could remove the echo. Finally, she said, I have to go because, of course, this lady works about 12 hours a day, and then she has to drive and, she has kids. So she said, I have to go. I really have to go. I'm sorry. But she did give me another interview, the third one that I have. But I am thinking that if we're going to have her live with Ron and Sean Atwood's channel, that'd be fun for people because we're trying, the problem is the logistics because she
Mm,
feels more comfortable speaking Spanish. So people understand this. The interview was in Spanish.
yeah.
Ron
Mm.
translated it with a Google Translate, and then he read that out, and that voice came out.
wow.
Yeah, so it's not her voice at all. So this is why she sounds so posh. And then he cut the places where she was speaking Spanish, because what I did is I said the questions in English, but because she understands English very well, but she like it's just speaking for her is a bit difficult. So she answered back in Spanish, and so Ron literally had to cut and put back, like uh, her answers, insert them back where they were. And so
Wow. That's
yeah,
impressive.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you, I mean, the thing with that interview though, she's there at a certain period of time, which is quite a small period of time to be pregnant. We know it's just roughly under 9 months, or what, there's a few. How many weeks of pregnancy is there?
It's
So
38.
she's gonna be there. It's almost like can they work that out from that interview? I'm not trying to get her into any trouble,
No,
but it is
no, she's not gonna
a
get in
small
trouble.
window.
No, 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 because I mean, there were at least 8 or 9 people revolving around that time. You know,
What?
Yeah,
coming and
How
okay.
many months was she apparently during the time?
Pardon me?
How many months was she? Was she like 6 months, 8 months during the time
Well,
the maid?
when one of the times that she was, a few of the other times that she was there, Meghan was supposed to have been 8 months pregnant, you know, and you've seen that footage. You know that footage of Meghan Markle when she's with that green dress and that big belly and she's talking to Harry?
Yes.
Well, because you know, like I asked, you never saw her with a belly. She said no. So this is why when the interview, when the Netflix documentary came out, I was curious to see about it, and she was shocked to see that she's walking around with this big belly. So this is why she says in the interview, I never saw any of that, you know. And I was like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah. And at one point she felt like I was trying to get her to say that she had seen her pregnant. This is why she got upset with me. She says, I'm not going to say I saw her pregnant, because if all this craziness of this woman is ever found out, and then they're going to come and see me, or they find out who I am eventually, and I say I saw her pregnant, they're going to know that I'm lying, because she wasn't the only one there.
Right.
You know, there were a
So
bunch of people. Meghan didn't hire her. They get an agency and they send people all the time. It could be the same time. They can come to the same house, because sometimes they send them to other houses, because this agency supplies these people to clean or take care of other houses in the area of Montecito,
right.
Pasadena, Westwood, and all those places, you know.
Did they see a baby room?
Nothing. No, nothing. There was, if you look at the first video,
Nothing.
she says that there was nothing. This is why in the first interview I said, but you must have seen something. She says, you keep asking me in the first interview. She says, you keep asking me about children, but I can't talk about something that's not there. So no matter how many times you ask me, did you see this? Did you see that? It's like me asking Victoria, I mean, how are your twins? And you're gonna look at me
Over and over again.
I don't have twins. But no, what did the twins do? It's like, I don't have twins. Or what, you know what I mean? So
Did you ask her in the third part that if she ever heard them speaking about the kids?
yeah, and the third part,
Because
actually, we managed to do 40 minutes.
yeah.
And I did go. The problem I had, I was planning. If you look at it, I was gearing myself to talk about the children, were not for the fact that I got that bloody echo, you know, when we were recording. And yeah, so, and I was so frustrated. I spent so much time, you know, trying to fix it. But yeah.
Can I just put you on pause for a second? Sir Wesh, my lovely moderator, would you be able to help out in the chat? Just because we had a bit of a naughty word come in earlier and I had to ban him. I don't mind. I know you're in there somewhere. But yeah, if you don't mind, that would be grand. Thank you very much. Carry on.
Are they swearing against me?
It was just it was a naughty R word, but I don't like that word, so we just had to get rid of that one. Yeah.
But the thing is that it's yeah, this lady, you know, like she in the third interview, you know, it's amazing for us, at least for me. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's amazing how asking simple questions and when her answers unpack so much, because those answers debunk so much that's out there.
She also mentioned that they were fighting, and you said that she didn't know what they were fighting about, but they were.
The second fight is the second fight. Is the second. Yeah, it's the second fight, because I wanted to know if, you know, she heard what, because she said that I wanted to know what the fight was about, right? The second fight, you know, like, and she said, no, I just heard the screaming and shouted and I ran. This is why I go, but are you sure you didn't hear? And she says, no, I didn't hear it, you know, but I just, when I heard the shouting and screaming, I ran outside and she was hitting Harry, and he was just trying to hold her back, and and then she didn't know what to do, because she's a maid, and she doesn't know whether if because what if I guess her
Right.
process was, if I cut in later, Meghan's gonna get mad or Harry's gonna get mad, and they're I'm gonna get they're gonna
Right.
report me back to my manager, so, and like she said, thank God Marcus Anderson was there, who basically held her back.
Wow, because she was going at him. She was going to fight him.
Oh
Wow.
yeah, and then you know what she says, that Harry was really upset, and she just ran to get him a glass of water, and stuff like that. So
I
it
believe
is,
it. I believe she was hitting on him in his face, yelling at him, telling him what he's going to do and what he's not going to do. I mean, the control that she has over him is just unbelievable.
yeah. And like I
I do
asked her,
find it very odd though that they've witnessed it twice now, so there must be a lot
well, she
more.
did, she did. She said, I
Yeah,
can't
she
witness
she's
anymore.
yeah. Oh,
But,
so
but,
she's only
but
she
no.
witnessed
But
two.
out of the times that she was there, because remember, she
Yeah.
said that the first months that she was there, they would come all the time. But then afterwards,
Okay.
they
Oh, I
stopped coming
see.
so much.
Yeah,
you
every
know?
2 weeks,
And
wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like twice a week, something like that. So she witnessed two, but I'm sure other people witnessed it. Like on the third interview, she told me that other staff witnessed it, because it got escalated more and more and more and more. She didn't even bother to hide it, from what she told me in the third interview. But she only saw it twice herself. But how they gossip among them, and they would tell each other, "Oh, did you see what she did to him?" and blah blah blah.
Oh,
Like,
I
yeah.
mean, it's very brazen to just go publicly slap your husband or your wife in front
It
of people, isn't it? And
well,
it's
she
all,
doesn't
even
care.
just even being derogatory and being rude and
Oh,
disrespectful
yeah.
and berating him and making him feel less of a man. But she stated that he doesn't do anything. He does, she has to do everything. And she's very driven and focused, by the sounds of it, on maintaining this image and getting her name out there and building a brand. And by the sounds of it, it just doesn't feel like his heart's really in it.
Well,
By
building
that
her brand.
interview.
She's building her brand. Remember what we were talking about yesterday, Victoria?
Yeah.
Was it yesterday that you said, Leticia and Victoria, that Beatrice said something, that she wants him to put the trust fund in her name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember during
That's something, Judy Holiday. We're going to know if there wasn't any shady. I'll tell you what. This is why in the video I repeatedly state that I wasn't there. I didn't witness any of that. I have verified that this lady did work there for the time she said she worked, and who she is. Okay, this is, I'm not going to say her name, but I say it many, many times. These are not my words. I have not witnessed any of it, so I'm okay. And I can't be sued for interviewing somebody, and she is protected under the whistleblower thing, because she's not disclosing other stuff. She told me stuff off air that would curl your toes.
Wow.
Because
And
she
the
did
thing is,
see
we
me
always have to just
without
state
the
it's
man.
allegedly, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
all
all
allegedly.
allegedly.
We
This is
have
why
to
I
say
said,
that.
Yeah.
yeah, but this
Yeah.
is why I said those are
So,
not my words. It's like, for
yeah.
example, when you interview somebody, or Piers Morgan or anybody interviews anybody, when Sean interviews people, we're interviewing somebody. All
Well,
I can do is verify who she is, make sure that she did work what she said she worked. That's it.
so Paula, just a few minutes ago, you mentioned that remember about branding, Meghan branding herself, trying to brand herself. You remember when she was on the Oprah show, and she said that Oprah asked her, she said, well, people think that you came to the United States to brand yourself and to make a name for yourself. And she turns around and she looks at Harry and she says, everybody always blaming Megs for this and Megs for that. I left my career. I left everything for him. I left my career. I left my home, my friends and family, and all this stupid stuff. And but that's what she's doing. She said, what sense does that make, me coming over here branding myself? What is she doing with the Jamathon?
Well, she has been, the funny thing is that when I asked the lady, well, you guys know the interview, please go watch it. She's saying that
Yeah.
Megan always has meetings. I do believe her, because when Ron gets to meet her, and Sean probably, if she agrees to do it, when Ron and Sean get to meet her, and they, of course, they're going to investigate the same things I did, and they will know that she's not lying where she worked, who she is, and this stuff like that,
Mm,
right? Because that's all we can do. She was
Right.
at that place. She was there. She is who she says she is. She worked there. Whether people want to discredit her or not, she did work there. I just can't give you her name because she did sign an NDA. The
mm,
agency and each employee, every employee that went into that house signed an NDA. Meghan Markle and Harry do rent that house, part of that house, and that helps with the bills. And every person who rents that, they rent out this house, which is all companies, they sign an NDA never to disclose that they were there as well.
mm,
you know
mm,
so and like, that's all we can do. I mean, for example, let's say, Leticia, you work for, I don't know, you work for Apple in California at these offices, and you are the director of marketing. That is your job description. You're working there. Let's say you work from 2000 January 2000 to 23 to December 2023. So if you come to me and you say, I'm going to give you an interview about what happened when I was a managing director, the marketing director at Apple between January and December 2023. Okay, I will say to you, yeah, I've established those four things. That it's true that you work there, who you are, and what you
Wow.
did.
This is
What you tell
good.
me is up to her.
Why do you think she's decided to come out and speak? Because obviously there's a lot of people that know what's happened in that house, and they would have witnessed certain behaviour and different things happening at different times. But why did she want to do it? What was her reasoning to come forward?
Well, she was very, very upset at how she was treated, and she got fed up of people. Meghan Markle, apparently, there's a speech that Meghan Markle did about mental health. When she went about mental health and family and being kind,
Mm, yeah.
and she kept going, and
Mm,
she's like, she's not kind. She is a bully. This is all according to her. She's not kind. She's a bully. She humiliated us. She even mocked us with. And the third interview, guys, she said that she would even mock her with this Abigail Spencer. She found out who Abigail Spencer was. She didn't know, but of course, because they weren't allowed to have the phones in there, nothing, and
Right.
they
no.
searched all the time. So, but they would see her because Megan would call her by her name, Abigail, Abigail, Abigail. So they went and looked and searched online when they got out of the house.
Mm,
Oh, that's her. So, and she said that they used to mock their accent and say, "Look, yeah, say this, say that," but they were not like interested. Oh, you sound so cute. No, they were mocking them. How can
Wow.
you get a job anywhere with that accent?
Wow. I'm not surprised. She's so allegedly evil.
it's what she does is alleged. We can have an opinion on her evilness
Look,
if we
listen,
want to. That's fine.
Teresa says that she has worked in the domestic business and that she has had to sign an NDA just for a job interview. That's how bad it is. Especially, this agency is ultra elite. They have offices in Pasadena, Brentwood, Westwood, Santa Barbara, clearly, so they, and Calabasas area, all of those places, and they service elite people. They have butler services and stuff like that,
Mm.
and they don't even call them maids. They call them what's the name of, they have like organizing staff, like they're organized.
Um,
They have like a household manager. They have
yes.
fancy titles because they don't
Are
want to
they
call them.
like top
Yeah,
tier house cleaners, top
yeah.
tier maids? Because you can get levels of housework, I suppose, can't you?
Yeah, well, they have
Uh,
the house manager, which is the person that
yeah.
manages the minor staff. Because this lady was so kind, she told me, okay, this is gonna be here and do this and do that, and you can find out. So I phoned her agency and I said, you know what, I want to hire this lady. And then I asked, why did she leave? Because I also wanted to make sure she didn't leave all pissed off. And then, she's feeding me crap. She goes, no, no, no. We were very sorry to see her leave. We didn't want her to leave. But, at the time, we didn't have vacancies closer to LA, you know. and she had some family issues, and she needed to be closer, to her family thing. So, and I'm like, okay, so it's not that she left resentful. She goes, no, she's fantastic, And I asked, who did she work for? Because my client is elite too, and she. If I told you the names that this lady gave me, fuck me. I mean, she this. I mean,
Was she directly insulted by Meghan, or was
Yeah.
it
yeah,
just
yeah, she was. She
yeah?
insulted
Okay,
everybody. She insulted everybody. Yeah, she
right.
used to charge them for. In the third interview, you guys, I'm going to give you a little bit on the third interview.
Okay.
She said that
Okay.
she charged them for sugar. They had to bring their food.
No.
She used to charge them for sugar. I mean, I mean everything. And they could, of course, they couldn't use coffee or anything, so they had to bring their own lunch. They couldn't use the kitchen, so they would eat cold lunch. And the reason why she worked from 6 in the morning till 7:30 in the afternoon is because 7:30 at night is because she was supposed to work 12 hours. But most people take that they get an hour and a half lunch within that schedule. But
Right.
Megan said that they had to work the 12 hours, and she needed to get her 12 hours because that's what she was paying for. She wasn't paying them to sit down and eat lunch.
That's illegal. It is so
Well,
illegal.
now when you have the governor on speed dial, and these people need the jobs, that they take advantage, and these people need the jobs.
She had those kids sign that NDA when she was at that school in New York City. So it's not surprising that she's got because you mentioned that she had to sign an NDA, correct?
Everybody has to sign an NDA before you enter Meghan Markle's house. Even Mr. Thomas Markle had to sign an NDA when he went to see her, according to the maid.
I mean, what is a procedure if you break the NDA? I mean, I have signed a couple before in the past.
Well, if they find out that
I'm-
you did, if they find out who you are, who's spilling the beans, I don't know, I guess
Yes.
sue you, but what are they going to sue her for? Now, I told her she was abusive towards you. And if she's using NDAs, now the law in California says that if you cannot use NDAs to cover your abuse or commit illegal things against a person. And the NDA is not for that. A lot of celebrities thought, oh, you have an NDA, I can be abusive, I can punch, I can do anything, I can talk about it. Not like that anymore.
I can treat you any kind of way because I had you sign that, like P. Diddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think when there's an overwhelming amount of abuse and bullying, if that's allegedly what's happening, I think this could be a trickle effect for the next person that had to sign an NDA.
You know what?
And
But the law has changed. There is that law now that it was passed because of sexual assault. But now it trickles to emotional abuse, psychological abuse, bullying, and that in the workplace. So they can't hide behind it anymore.
Paula, we've got a little bit of a mention here, just stating from Minda Taylor that wait, Thomas Markle went to the house. Can you just clarify what Markle that was and when that happened?
Well, you have to wait for the third interview.
Oh, okay. I have to wait for the third.
A little teaser.
When is that coming?
Well, if she comes live on Sean Atwood's channel, we have to figure out how to do it because she will be speaking Spanish, and she might not understand the accent from Sean or whatever. So then she would answer in Spanish, and I don't know how long it would take because then they would have to translate, and if the translation is not correct, it might sound. So we have to figure that out.
You might not have the questions already asked. Have a list of questions from each person that you can translate to her and ask the question.
Oh, you mean that they can pre-record the oh, that's an idea. I just thought it would be nice for people. I actually did say that in the video today that if maybe that would be an idea, and for people to send a list of questions to Ron. Because then and even us, we can ask. I mean, I know, so I can even indicate some of this stuff to Ron because I know what she talked about in the third interview,
Ooh. Wow.
I'd actually quite like to know why they were there and had so many staff anyway, and what were all their business deals that were going ahead. Apparently in that interview they said that
I think she would use the house for recording a lot. I think they're recording a lot. But as she said, she didn't know if they were Netflix because she said in the third interview, she says, and it is true. In one of the houses that she worked, it's a very famous person who is part of a reality show with Netflix. And she said that she knows they're not Netflix because when she was at a reality show that this ex-wife, the housewife was, they were filming, they had Netflix, like logo, you could tell they were Netflix, because this is a Netflix show
Oh,
and stuff like that. So she said to me, this is why she says in this little one, I don't know what they were. I don't know if they were Netflix or not, because they were not they look like regular people going around the house filming everything about her.
So it's like a fly on the wall documentary. Was that part? That was never part of her Netflix series, was it?
Well,
right.
no, she says that she was shocked.
No.
That she says out of
Yeah.
curiosity when the thing came out, she was shocked. She says, "Where did that belly come from?" Because it's supposed to be Lilibet, right?
Right.
And she's like,
And
"I
she
was
never saw
there.
Joy.
That never happened." It's like,
She never saw
Yeah, I
Archie
mean,
either.
I think that there is a a possibility that you could be right about the surrogacies, but
I don't know.
I'm
Yeah,
still
like
I'm
she
still on the
said,
fence.
like she said, when I saw that, okay, she's only going, but what she saw when she was there, and then
Wow.
when she saw the Netflix documentary, given the time frame that the documentary is saying that things happen, she says those things, I never saw those things around the house.
Not
That's
adding
it.
up.
Around
I
that
just
time,
want to
she didn't
say
see
to
that belly.
Susan, sorry, Susan, we are just discussing what somebody else has said. That's all we're doing. It's our opinions, and we're just going over it, and we're trying to work out whether it's true or not. It's as simple
And
as
then,
that.
and so
And
you don't
everything
have
is
to watch.
allegedly on
If
this
this is crap,
channel.
you don't have to watch it. You don't have to be rude. If this is crap, don't watch it. Move on. You don't have to watch it. I don't think anybody's putting a gun to your head to watch this, and you don't have to come to Victoria's channel and call her content crap. Just move on, and then sell it.
I don't think Paula's going to get sued.
I'm
And
not gonna.
listen, everybody is allowed their opinion, Susan. I appreciate your comments, but we are just having a civilized discussion. I'm not agreeing with Paula on everything. I never have done. I've never really believed about the surrogacy stuff, but Paula knows more than I do about
No,
it.
no, no. I want to make
And
absolutely sure
there
this is
is,
not me
yeah.
talking. This is.
No, I
I'm
know, and
talking
that's what I'm saying.
here.
Also, regarding the maid, this isn't you speaking. This is the
I
maid
mean,
speaking, the
this person
ex-maid.
has come here just to come here because clearly has not seen the videos. Because if you had seen the videos, I spent like 4 minutes before and after saying this is not me.
Yeah.
I haven't done this. I haven't been there. This is just a person when this and this and that. I wonder when Ron verifies everything and Sean verify everything, and we have this lady there, they're still gonna come and say that we're talking crap and this is made up. As I said, all I can do was verify who this person is, where
Yeah.
she worked, and the time period she worked there, which is
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
100%
surprised
it happened.
if it blew up to the point where you were on GBN News talking about the maid, and this is getting bigger and bigger because it's plausible. It is what it is. You spoke to the maid that was there, and she's telling you what she saw. I mean, it's almost like we're getting a glimpse inside. It's really interesting. So I see a different side to it than others. I really see this thing getting bigger, and the maid actually coming out, and
Yeah,
Meghan knocking on the door like, "Uh-oh, you
yeah.
didn't stepped into something you shouldn't be stepping into."
Yeah.
Or
And
something
the
like
thing
that.
is, I don't use God. Okay, now somebody's saying because she used your word nasty. I guess I am the only person on the planet that uses the word nasty. Now that interview was also translated. Okay, so for example, you're gonna get words that everybody says because it's auto translation. So it's not even me saying those things. Do you understand that? How stupid
Right.
can people be? I'm sorry, I'm not calling everybody stupid, but these are people who are coming here. You haven't watched the interviews, and you're only coming here to create fear in Victoria's channel. Okay. Now, how did I verify that? She contacted me. She sent me her IDs. I said, you know what? Because I get a lot of emails, guys, saying, "Oh,
Right.
I'm so." You know that, Leticia. We all
Yes.
get that. And I'm like, oh yeah, right. I remember the first time I get it, I didn't even answer. And she kept sending me like 4 or 5 emails. And I'm like, and she says, listen. And then she started writing to me in Spanish. please, like, this is my ID. I work here. And then I answer and I said, okay, how do I know that this ID matches the person behind the, who sent it? Because you could have had stolen ID. So we did a face-to-face call like this. And, and she put up the ID. She gave me her social security number. She gave me the place of work. And then she says, I give you authorization and you can call and ask for references for me.
Wow.
Yeah. So I did. I called directly. She didn't even give me a number. She just gave me the name of the agency. And she said, just call.
And do you know what I like about that, Paula? I like that you just do
too.
your backup before you put it out, because a lot of people would just take that information and wouldn't do any research on it. And you always come with
Oh, God, no,
receipts, and
no,
I
no,
know
no,
you've
no,
got
no, no.
receipts, and this is
Victoria.
why I
I'm
have
not
Paula
about
on
to
the
do that.
channel, guys. Because
I'm not about to do that.
is Paula. No, but I know you. I know you're not going to pull up any receipts, but I know you do, and this
Me
is the difference
too.
here. So we're fully that the content that is out there. There is a lot of truth to that content, and this is why we are revealing it. And I wouldn't have Paula on here if I didn't believe what she was saying. Just to clarify,
And just to
okay?
clarify
Beautiful,
something, I
Victoria.
really regret, I sat on these interviews for a long time because I didn't know how to do the things that Ron does. I mean, Ron does
Right.
it in his sleep. So I was like, I really regret not having put the first interview out before Gavin Newsom spoke on behalf of Archwell, because she
Right.
says that Meghan used to threaten him with deportation and that she had the governor on speed dial.
Oh, I believe it.
Well, no,
Why
she says,
would he come out and say that stuff about her unless he had access to her, unless he was talking to her directly, unless it affected him personally?
yeah.
Because, yeah, why would he care?
No, and the thing is that I know that a lot of sugars, I know that right now they're in control, control, trying to discredit this because they don't want this. This is a truthful thing. I believe her. I know that the Sussex squad and everybody are trying to discredit this lady, to discredit this interview. I know they're going to start inundating all of the people that talk about this and say, oh, it's fake, it's this and that. Because if it's true, they won't like it because it paints Meghan Markle in a bad light. Valentine Lowe published his article about Meghan's bullying
Right.
before they went on Oprah. And everybody, even
And let's just play devil's advocate for a minute. Even you've got the receipts, you know that she worked there, you checked everything out, and you know that was the time frame that she was there also. But she could be lying. I mean, we don't know. She could be making up and fabricating the whole
Yeah,
thing. But
that's
what
true.
we're doing is we're breaking it down to see if it's true or not, and we're trying to work
Right.
out whether this information is credible. And that's really all we can do from somebody revealing some
That's fair.
information,
And
because
you
we
know
weren't
why?
there.
But you know why I decided to go ahead? After Gavin Newsom, she had given me the interview about a month before Gavin Newsom came out with all this Archwell nonsense, right? And she had told me that Meghan Markle used to threaten them with deportation because she knew the governor, that she had him on speed dial and this and that. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. But when Gavin Newsom came out on her defense,
Right.
that was like, this lady was not bullshitting me.
Yeah.
Whether Meghan, she never saw the governor of the house, but this is just what Meghan used to tell her. And then when I saw that, I said, I have to put this out. And I really regretted not having put it before, because then it would have been a huge impact.
Well, I mean, even now it's an impact because, like you said, Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, is he California, Florida, one of them, coming out speaking on behalf of Meghan about some charity. I mean, it's shocking.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? People try to attack my ethics or discredit me. And I dare you, go on my channel and tell me one time I have lied to you. In regards to the phone call did happen. I can prove it if I need to. I can prove it to Sean. I can prove it to anybody. The phone call that I received, it was from a 416 number. There were things that were said to me that I discussed with the two siblings. They were freaked out about it. And it turns out that what was told to me, it's truthful. And it collides with the narrative they're putting out. So all I can tell you is a phone call did happen. As I said in my video, when I did that video, I was urged to do that by one of the siblings. They wanted me to do it because it's going to be so. Like Molly said, you might have been set up. I don't know. But once I found out that the phone call happened, I had the number. They confirmed that that number belonged to the original owner. One of the siblings told me that that number did used to belong to Meghan. I was like, and then when the company tells me, wait a minute, it still belongs to to the original owner. They didn't give me the name because they said it was a public figure, and as such, they had to protect their identity, and and that it could have been a misdial. So when you add all of it up, unless Meghan gave her phone number, suddenly that day she gave that number away to somebody. But the very next day, when I went to the police station to investigate that and accuse them of harassing, the following day they came back and said, yes, that number exists. It belongs to the original owner, because I asked, they refused to give me the name, but they did say it belongs to the original owner.
Wow.
We have one of the siblings saying that that number did belong to her at one time, but no longer. I don't know how the sibling would know, unless, or maybe she was blocked from that number. I don't know. But the phone company told me, this is the phone company told me. So people try to discredit me for X and Y, but everything I've talked in my channel has come true. And I put out information. I put the receipts, and I put speculations about things.
Yes, you are going to get your receipts. That's what I love about you, Paula. You're going to get down to the nitty gritty and have your receipts, and because you're not going to want to put anything out that's going to discredit you, or put anything out that's going to have people not believing you. So you're going to come with receipts, and that's why I love
you play your ace card when you need to play it. And at the moment,
Libby, I just want to answer something to Libby. She very well could have given her phone to someone else to use. Fair enough, but the number still is belonging to the same public figure that had it from the beginning. So if I give my phone to Victoria, you call from my number, Victoria, that's still my number. Yeah.
Right.
And they have to dial my number, because they didn't call me through WhatsApp. They call me to my number. They cannot delete that from my phone records. They can't, because all they do is print out. It's a printout directly from the records things.
Wow.
Was it Meghan? I have no clue. Sure as hell sounded like her. And the things that she told me were, so that's the only thing that they're pinning on me to discredit me. And I didn't want to do the video, but one of the siblings was insistent that I do that, especially because the things that were said to me would affect him very badly.
Ooh.
Okay, well, let's move on from the family as a whole. We can
But what I'm saying is that people are going to try to discredit it, and this is why a lot of people don't want to come forward, because the Sugars are very good at creating hatred. I'm not here to discuss whether she's lying or not. We're here to discuss. Well, she might be lying. I said it. I didn't witness any of that. But all I can tell you, for example, I can guarantee you that I'm talking to Leticia and I'm talking to Victoria on a live on Thursday? What time? I can guarantee that.
Exactly.
Is Victoria telling me the truth? I don't know. You have to ask her. Is telling
it's all an illusion, Paula. We're not really here.
So, but it's very interesting. This is why a lot of people have a hard time coming in, because Meghan has a very good machine. Did you know that after I talked about that phone call, I got into Bosie's radar? That's when he posted those tweets about me.
Wow.
I've never been in his radar. And then I got into the radar of that Prince Dre, whatever the hell his name is, that he called me as his hater. That was all of this because I got that phone call on February 1st. It was after that suddenly I'm on Bosie's radar. Oh,
let's talk about the rest of the interview with the with the fact that they were there every day up until
X amount of time. I'm not going to tell you when she left, but she left way after Meghan had Lily.
So
at least the child, quite a few months after Lily, because it was a revolving door, she went at the beginning, she would go 5 days, and then she started going 3 days, and she got sent to another house because she complained, and a lot of them, they didn't want to go back to the house because she was really rude. you know, so they didn't want to work for her. So, but it got too tough for the agency because they only have an X amount of staff. And once the employee, the people who hire them get a bad rep, you know how they talk. Oh, you know, I don't want to go there. She's a bitch, you know, blah, blah, blah.
So was
So
the film crew there every time she was there?
every time she came with 3 or 4 guys that were filming everything they did, they would follow them around the house and stuff like that.
And
So,
someone was writing for Harry. I'm guessing that was for what?
pardon
For
me?
his book? Well, someone was writing his story
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the
yeah.
house. So that was that for the same time as Spare, or was that for something else? Do you think? What do you think
Hmm?
that writing was for? Because she wanted to be included in the story, didn't she? But she wasn't. She was upset, apparently,
Right.
allegedly, that she wasn't
I just want to
included
say
in the
something.
writing.
Samantha, get off the thing. I know Susan Stokes is Samantha Markle. I know it's you because you told me you had that account. So, and you don't have a copy of me talking with Megan Small on a private member's life because Megan Small has never been with me on a private. And I'm going to expose your other 3 accounts. Okay. So stop it. I'm not going to be playing nice anymore. So I'm not going to get anybody dragging Megan Small into this because that's really disgusting. I can take myself being attacked because I'm a big girl. I've been around bullies my whole life. I've been around idiots my whole life. But Megan Small, she's off limits because that's a vile lie that's been said about her. I'm sorry, I'm going to talk about this just a little. I'm just going to put a stop to this because Megan Small has never been with me in a member's life. And if you say that you have that, then you should show it because you are a liar. You are a liar. And anybody who wants to, I have actually have that member's life. And if you want to watch it, it'll cost $500 and I'll split it with Megan Small and I will send you the copy of that to your disappointment because Megan Small is not there. So yeah, don't drag Megan Small back here because that is not fair. She's a single
Yeah.
mom with a little boy. It is not fair. And I will start disclosing all the accounts that I know are yours. So, anyways, so what were you saying? Sorry about that. Let's talk about the maid.
Oh, I'm completely thrown off now, to be honest. Hold on a second. Let me just go back. So you think that lady there was somebody else's account?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. At the beginning, when I started talking to a person, she told me that she had a few accounts because she was banned all the time when she used her name. So she had a few accounts that she would use, you know. I don't know if it's true because I found out that these people lie all the time. But for now, I want to talk about the maid. But I will not put anybody bringing Megan Small into this because it is not
No,
fair and it is
no,
a lie.
no. That's fine, and that's fine. It's good
Okay?
that you're mentioning that and clarifying that, because I think a lot of this has got quite confused anyway. But
No, I
we
know that
can't.
you know what they're doing? Every time we go on a live, they're going to keep bringing this up because they want to disrupt. That's what they want to do. Letitia was doing her live and they came and they were disrupting her live that Megan Small had to come in.
Right, I see.
And it
Oh,
was just today that
it's
happened.
all getting a bit messy, isn't it? But
No,
I
it's not
didn't.
going to get messy. It's not going to
Well,
get.
no, it's at the minute it is just the way things are going at the moment. With regards to everything else, I just think it's hard to work out what is going on at the moment with the other stuff going on in the background.
And I just want
If
to
you
say
get my
hello,
drift.
Queenie. Happy birthday, Queenie. Today's Queenie Mora's birthday. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Hello. But no, I
So
just want to say, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Just wanted to clarify that. Okay. So
yes,
I can tell you the
perfect. I think
following.
it's better to park that for a minute now.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, you know what? I just find that this lady might be the little crack that opens the dam. Because if we're
Well, this is what I thought. Yeah, yeah. This is what I thought. And this is what I wanted to ask you as well, because she wanted to be written about too. And I was just trying to see whether what that book was about, whether it was is it time with the same time as Spare, or was it some other bit of
it was
writing
around
on?
the same time as
Yeah.
Spare. Yeah.
Okay.
In
Okay.
the third interview,
So
I do talk
these
to her
type
about
of
it.
things kind of all add up if you're looking at the time frame of it all.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the time, that these little stories make sense within that time frame. The only thing that doesn't make sense to me, and I'm still on the fence about it, is not being pregnant.
Well, you know
That's
what?
that's
This is
what
why.
I
If you
can't
listen to the interview,
get
I'm
my
like,
head round.
I was like, yeah, but if you look at it, there's so many discrepancies on that thing. And this is why I asked her, you know, and what I would do, for example, I would be talking about it. And when I heard that she was getting mad because I kept going on about it, then I said, did she have a chicken coop? Just to break, you know, the tension.
Right.
See her getting pissed, you know, it's like, why are you keep asking me about this, you know? And she's very much into, like, you, I, she was very frustrated with me because I think she got the impression that I wanted her to say those things to make the interview that, yeah, I saw her pregnant, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
you lie, I'm
Yeah,
not
but
gonna lie.
she didn't want to say what she didn't see. And no, juicy tomato. It's not that I don't believe what most have said. It's because sometimes things aren't fathomable in my head, and I'm trying to work it out. So there's also a lot of talk about there's no children at all, which I don't believe at all. I think there are
No,
children,
I think they're
but
children. I think
yeah,
they're children. I've always said this in my channel. Sometimes I would say if the children exist, because you know when they joke about Kate, when they say, where is Kate? Well, she's looking for the Sussex children. When she finds them, you're gonna see her in public again. You know, like, good luck with that. You know, like,
yeah. But how they got here is it could be a different story. But then again, I also don't have any ill feeling about her being a surrogate. If she had used a
Right.
surrogate, I don't really feel any way about it. Personally, for me, I know it bothers you, Paula, because of the line of
no,
succession.
it
But
doesn't bother
and
me.
it's
It's
because
legal.
I know you say it's
No, I
illegal,
don't say it. I don't
but
say
it
it.
is. Well, it
Succession
is illegal.
access.
Yeah.
Succession access, three things that have never been abolished and still stand to this day. The royal child has to be born from a married couple by the Church of England. By the Church of England. Men and
Right.
women. Men and woman. A man and woman must be married, a royal, one of them being royal, has to
But
be married in the Church of England. Number two, the child must be conceived naturally.
right.
The window, artificial insemination, or whatever it is that you want to call it. And
I
that
think
also eliminates surrogacy, surrogates. That's out the window. And the third, that the child must be born of the body.
and see,
Okay, but
like
that's an old archaic rule for
It still
the
applies. It
royal.
still
I
applies.
right,
know it does, but does it not mean that they have had to hide it for that reason because they
right.
can't
But that's
go
fraud.
ahead and
That is
change? Well,
fraud.
it
But that is
but
fraud.
then that does that mean they don't have any children?
Well,
Because
see,
if
this
they
is the
couldn't get
problem
No, nobody's
I
saying that
would
they don't
have
have children.
is
They're
that
saying
they
that they can't
lie.
do the line of succession. That's why they lie, because they know that if the child is born out of surrogate, the child, and this is the thing that really bothers me, Victoria, because they had in 2013, it was debated in Parliament when they amended the Marriages Act to allow same-sex marriage. It was a huge debate because they said it's not fair to the royal family. If we're going to change the Marriages Act to allow same-sex marriage, how does that affect the royal family, you know, for the
Yeah,
Succession Act?
good
So they said,
question.
well, it doesn't. As it stands right now, because the Church of England does not recognize same-sex marriage, I think. I think they can bless it, but they don't recognize it like fully at the time, at least. And they said they don't recognize same-sex marriage, and the royal couples have to be married in the Church of England by the teachings of the doctrine of the Church of England. So the Marriages Act, the change of the Marriages Act in 2013. I remember this very clearly because Elton John was one of the first ones to get married. I remember when he went with David Furnish to get
Yeah,
married, all the front pages. So that debate happened. It was a huge debate. I said, no, it doesn't happen because the royal family, they cannot marry in a civil.
right.
They have to marry in communion. They have to be married in the Church of England, in communion with the Church of England and its teachings. So it has to be between a man and a woman, married in the Church of England, conceived naturally. So the surrogate is out the window. Artificial insemination is out the window.
But okay, so let's just look at it a different way, Paula. If that is the case, and that's the tradition and it's true that is the law, what were they meant to do? Were they meant not, if they couldn't conceive naturally, were they not meant to have children? Because then that means that they weren't, they basically couldn't have kids. And
Well,
that's
they
not
would have
fair,
been
is it?
excellent for
They
the line
should
of
be allowed to
succession.
have
No,
children.
but this is why the line of succession is. If, for
Yeah.
example, Queen Elizabeth or Prince Philip couldn't have children, and Princess Margaret had children, then when the Queen died, it would have gone to Princess Margaret's eldest child.
Well, okay.
That's what
So
the
I
line of succession is
So
there for.
you all you would like to see is them removed from the line of succession
No,
because
I
of
would like them to present the documentation
showing
verifying
birth.
that there's a doctor who gave birth to Meghan Markle, like the proper accounts. I mean, are you telling me, Victoria, that it doesn't sound fishy to you that
it.
Meghan
Well,
Markle was back
it
and
does.
trucked and
It
got it within
does.
an hour?
It does. But the thing is, having a there's such a conflicting thing for me here because there is very unlikely them kids are ever going to be in the way up in the monarch anyway. They're not
Not
coming back, so
necessarily.
it's well,
It
you'd
could
have to have a
happen.
lot to happen for them to come over, and then their status can be put into questioning when that happens and if that happens. But I just wonder whether it's actually really important when they're so far removed from us now. Do you know
I
what I
think
mean?
so. The reason why I think
Oh,
Oh,
it
let
sets a
me
bad
say this.
precedent. It sets a bad
The
precedent. That's
reason
illegal. It's a
well,
crime
The reason
committed. It
why
doesn't
I
matter
think
where
it's
it
a
is.
bad situation is because she's lying. The whole lie behind
I
I'm
get that.
pregnant,
Yeah.
I had the baby, there's no surrogate. So if there was a surrogate, which we kind of think so, then that's a big deal. That is a big deal that she lied and she did not carry the baby. It's not the fact that it's okay that she didn't. It's the fact that she lied about it. It's okay, maybe
Yes.
if
But
you
do
want
you
to have
think
a surrogate.
and I think if she just lied about that, then maybe things, her character is made up of different lies and different. She's orchestrated quite a path of a web of lies, but this particular lie, I feel they probably weren't able to come out with because of the setup of the monarchy.
You're
That's
okay.
why
I
I.
get what you're
Do you
saying. You're
see what I
trying to
mean?
say that maybe her body wasn't going to allow her to have the baby natural. So instead of telling everybody about it, they keep it a secret and go ahead and have the baby. And
Because of
there's
the
no big
tradition of the monarchy,
right. There's
exactly,
no
and
big
because
deal
because
because
it
they
would
are
might have
her
been
kids.
frowned upon within the family, and there may be a big uproar about the succession as we know that there is at the moment on YouTube. So they probably wanted to keep that private, that particular thing private, that
Regardless
she
if
No,
they're
couldn't
keeping it
conceive
private,
naturally.
sorry.
regardless if they're
Please, I'm
keeping
sorry.
it
I
private or
didn't understand
not,
what you guys are talking about.
the
Are you
fact
saying that
is that
Meghan
she
Markle got
lied.
pregnant naturally? You're saying that Meghan Markle got pregnant naturally or through in
No.
vitro using Harry's whatever, and then she gave birth herself, but because she couldn't conceive naturally, that's why they're hiding it. Am I getting this right?
That's what she said.
Okay,
But even if they're hiding it, Victoria and Paula, check this out. Isn't it now at this point, if it comes out, she told us that she had the baby.
that's a lie.
I
And that's
know this is the issue, isn't it? I don't know. Like I do also think there's a few other celebrities that have pretended to have given birth naturally and haven't, and they've
Right.
chosen to keep it secret because maybe as well you have to look at it. There is a taboo around not holding and not bearing your own child. There is some of it is looks like it's to some people it looks like you've not done yourself any service, you haven't looked after there's all these thoughts about why you haven't
Yes. But
conceived,
she totally
and there's
deceived.
also this negative connotations attached to not carrying your own
no, that's
child.
No,
not it.
it's not
No, no,
that.
no,
For
Judy, that's
this
not it.
Sometimes people
situation,
think like that though. I'm not
No,
saying
that
I
is
do.
she
no,
came
that is not
around
it.
carrying
No,
a
that is
baby
not
bump.
it.
She
That is
had a
not
baby
it.
bump. She had us believing that she was pregnant and finna deliver and have a baby. And if we find out later that she didn't deliver after she showed us that she was going to deliver, that's going to be a big bang to me.
That
I
is
mean, you
fraud.
can't get
It
it
is
no
fraud.
worse
It
than
has
that.
nothing to do. It has not. Listen, there. If you understand the background of these laws, up till 1948, the Home Secretary had to be present in all royal births because they had to having because the children were born in the castle. I think that Prince William and Harry, Prince William was the first one to be born in a hospital, if I remember correctly. Prior than that, the Home Secretary, it was law, Victoria, had to be present, and he would witness, say, I witness that the child came off the body, because they had to be in the line of succession. Because why did that why did that law exist? Because the royal family were doing freaky business, because people do want to stay in power. For example, if they couldn't have a baby, then the crown would go to the next in line within the royal family. So you don't have a shortage of people. That's what the line of succession is there for.
So
So,
say
but
if this all comes out, Paula, and this is true, and they did use a surrogate, and say they actually did do it, what would happen? What would happen?
well, Charles is involved, because their checks. This is why I requested the Freedom of Information Act request to Parliament, because Parliament is the governing body that reviews all the information, all the documentation before they register, they include the child in the line of succession. So when I got that email back saying that they have no documents to contact the royal family, that's a big red flag, because they are the one. Victoria, it's like when you go get a passport, right? You have to present some documents, right?
Mm.
That's just life.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
My problem here is the following. That was because the conversation was started in 2013 about same-sex marriages. If Meghan had been honest and said, you know what, for X, Y, Z reasons, my body cannot carry the child, that would have been a great time for Parliament to look again into that situation.
Yes, they should
You know
have,
what?
yeah.
And you know what? I am sure that they would have said, you know what? We also have to bring it up to modern times. If we can
Yes.
verify that she cannot carry the child, but we use her ovule and the man's sperm, and it is the royal child with the DNA, then they can be included in the line of succession. I wouldn't. That was such a missed opportunity, because the conversation was started in 2013. So that would have been great if they had put it, because it would have been inhumane to say we're gonna. It has nothing to do with race, but it would have been inhumane if somebody can't carry a child, and therefore the child's that's very archaic. Why are you going to penalize a child because he's born of a surrogate, as long as he has?
This is what I'm trying to say though, Paul. This is what you're saying in a different way. I get what you mean.
But that's what I mean. But the problem is they didn't do that. They wanted to go.
I know they didn't, but maybe there's reasons why that didn't happen. I'm just
fraud, Victoria. That is fraud. There's fraud. I don't even know. When people try to make excuses, those were lies. When they go through the shenanigans of putting moon bumps, doing this, Harry saying this.
Yes,
that is
fraud.
I know.
The deceit behind it is worse than the actual act, isn't it? That's what people don't like, is being deceived. And anything you do is, I think, if you're truthful about it, then it's
illegal. It's illegal.
Yes, I know.
Okay, let me put it this way for people to understand it, because maybe if I'm doing the line of succession, they don't get it. Can you imagine if you're on welfare, or I don't know what you call it, government benefits, and you go to the government benefits and you say, I have 7 children, and you don't have any, but you say, I have 7 children. Oh, poor woman, she has 7 children. Of course, you get an allowance, I assume, right? That they give you for each child, so you get X amount of money, right? And then the government finds out that she had lied on purpose in order to get those benefits. Don't you think that's a crime? And that lady would be put in prison, most likely. Or can you imagine, you go with that child and you say, you know what? You falsify a document saying that he's born in the UK so he can get a UK passport. And you go and you actually manage to get the UK passport. You know why the Heritage Foundation is trying to look for Harry's application visa? Because they want to know if he lied, if he said that he didn't take drugs. Because if he marked, I didn't take drugs, in a government application, that's a federal crime with a minimum of 2 years in jail, no holds barred, because that idiot can read. So that's why the Heritage Foundation is fighting right now to get that document, because they want to know if he lied. If he lied, he is a criminal and he should be kicked out after he spends his 2 years in jail in the United States, minimum. If he didn't lie, then the U.S. government purposely allowed a self-confessed prolific drug addict into the United States of America. Either are bad. So it's just as bad, just because there's a child in the line of succession, you say that is far-fetched. When Charles dies, let's not forget that George is only what, 8 years old, 10 years old, something like that. It's still waiting 8 years to get to be able to be, considered grown up, to be like king if anything happens.
Right.
Let's not forget that Catherine has cancer. People think they're going to live forever. Catherine has cancer, guys. Next one could be William, God forbid. No, no, no. But if anything, when Charles dies, let's say Charles dies within the next years, guess who moves up the line of succession?
Yeah, yes, I agree, Paula. They should not be in the line of succession, not unless we know for a fact that they did come from her, and we don't know.
Is the lies. How can Parliament?
But this is what I agree with the fact that the deceit is worse than the actual act, because having a surrogate isn't an issue in this day and age.
Right.
But it is for that family, for whatever reason, because of the law that they have. So what I'm thinking is, if they couldn't have passed that law and changed it in time, is there a way?
It doesn't matter. No,
So
listen.
you think-
No. The Queen. You know what the Queen did in 2012 when Catherine was pregnant the second time? They didn't know whether it was going to be a female or a male. The Queen, December, when Parliament had gone on break, in December, the Queen said, 2012, I want to amend the line of succession, or the Succession Act, removing gender preference to primogeniture. Whoever's born first come first, and I want Catholics to be included in the line of succession. She asked for it on December when Parliament was on vacation. You know when they passed that law? And they went through the first, second, third, fourth reading, all signed up. March.
Okay.
March the next year. Within 2.5 months, that law was passed, and then it was sent to the realms for them to pass it in each realm. When they want to, they can pass that law. And this is why I say,
okay, and I get that, but I'm just trying to question it. I'm trying to find a nice little time.
They are narcs. They are narcs. And you know what my opinion is? I know this is very unpopular. I believe that Harry and Meghan lied to the crown. And when the Queen found out, the crime is so big, and she loved that idiot so much, because Meghan refused the gynecologist and stuff like that, that the Queen didn't want to see her grandson go down.
So, Victoria, are you saying that it really feels like there's a bad stigma over someone else having a child, like a surrogate?
Okay, no, right. So I think a lot of, this is my opinion, I think a lot of celebrities and people within the media, they have surrogates for different reasons, and it's more for a vanity reason, I think, because they don't want to outshape their own body. It doesn't necessarily mean they can't carry. It could be that as well, but they also wait a lot later in life to have children, so it makes it harder to conceive. So if you're having children over the age of 40, there's going to be more complications. It's going to be harder to carry. So the surrogate option, they've left it for, they've got money to do that as well. So you've got that option there to go and have a surrogate, whereas us regular folk don't have the money to do that. So we would carry and conceive naturally. All I am saying is that when it comes to how they are perceived in the media, with some celebrities who do have surrogates, they might look at it in a way that it's out of a vanity aspect rather than out of not being able to do it, because they're maintaining what their body is, their money, right? So I'm not talking about Meghan at the moment. I'm talking about celebrities, that their whole body and their face is what makes them cash. So if that's bent out of shape, then that's a problem, isn't it?
Right. But do you think if Meghan had been honest with us, like just say, for instance, for example, she would have just said, listen, I can't have kids, I'm going to have a surrogate. Do you think if she had been honest about it, her kids should be in line of succession?
I'm going to give you something that's even more brutal. I'm going to give you something even more brutal. Did you know, or do you know, that the palace could have granted a dispensation to that rule if Meghan and Harry had informed them about it? Because it is up to Parliament to monitor the line of succession. So if Meghan had come and said, you know what, I can't have a baby, but Harry can, and he's of royal blood, or whatever, or I can't have ovules, but I can't carry because of medical reasons. Parliament can make a dispensation on those grounds of humanity, and they would have included the child in the line of succession, but they needed to be informed in order to do that. Had
Right.
this been done transparently, honestly, but no, Meghan Markle wanted to compete and wanted the attention of being pregnant.
Okay.
Pregnant. She wanted the attention of, oh, look at me, look at coat flicking here.
Oh, yeah.
Like
I
everything
did.
that woman was doing.
This is the thing, and if like this going back to the maid's interview, that she didn't see her pregnant, then there's another added. There's what it is we're gathering evidence as we go, and I think the more evidence people have, the more of a formed opinion they can have.
Right.
When you're not entirely, you're still on the fence. I think the more you find out, the more it sways, because we're all allowed to change our mind. Everybody in the chat, you might think one thing one day, and you might completely think of something different the next, because I'm allowed to change my mind too when I want to, because you gather information as you go, and then you start working out, and it's a puzzle piece, and you're putting,
I like that,
putting
Victoria.
It
things
was such
together.
a useless lie. It was such a useless lie.
I like
Because
that.
I am sure, had they told the Queen, the Queen would have also asked Parliament to amend that and say that as long as the child, because also remember they arranged, they changed the Marriages Act to allow same-sex marriages. So that would have been a great time, and that would have been a very progressive thing of Meghan to do. But no, she wanted to compete. She needed the attention, and she needed to be pregnant in order to bully allegedly everybody, to gather to make people feel bad about her, and she would get away with everything because she was pregnant, so nobody could call her out on anything. She used that pregnancy as a weapon.
She did. Because she goes around and she says that she was bullied when she was pregnant with both kids, not just one, but both. How do you know and who bullied you if you don't look at social media? How do you know? And is it bullying, or is people just calling you out? So,
but it just bothers me. It just bothers me because they dirtied the monarchy. Because in my heart, guys, I tell you, the Queen was 92. The Queen found out she had cancer late 2019. Her husband, she knew her husband had not long to live. It's 70 years. You have COVID, and then you love this boy who's your grandkids. And from what I heard, because I'm not a grandma yet, when you're a grandma, I mean, your grandchildren, and the Queen felt very bad for Harry, very protective and everything. She probably knew something was up, but she wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. You know what? In my heart of heart, I know we don't have any proof, but in my heart of hearts, Meghan engineered this whole thing, first for attention, second for drama, third to lie, fourth because she couldn't be less of a woman. Instead of being, you know what, bring them on, it would have been a great time to bring them on into the 21st century and say, you know what, okay, you allow same-sex marriage. I can't carry a child. Can we use a surrogate? And we should bring the laws to the 21st century.
They should have, but they seem like the type of people that are not honest and not forthcoming, and think that they're above the law anyway. As we've seen, this is their nature. This is how they behave. This is how they operate. They don't feel like they need to expose themselves to the rest of the world. This is their mindset, because we know that they have fabricated a lot of things. Things just haven't made sense. So why would they want to be honest about this?
Right.
Because Meghan needs to be a woman. Meghan loves the attention that she's a pregnant royal woman. And you know what? Because this is the funny thing, guys. And let's not forget that the people who worked at the palace, who were high professionals, they were thrown under the bus by the palace. And why do you think they reached out to Valentine's Law under protection? Because because the palace had carried an investigation, but they said they were never going to disclose it because they're still protecting Meghan Markle. They still allowed Meghan Markle to say, oh, they're trashing me, they're lying about me, just like many people on this chat are saying.
I'm so shocked that Harry is allowing this this clown show to go on this long, and for her to continue to lie, not just to his country, but his family and to everyone. I mean, it's the lies are real. I mean,
Well, there's a lot of things that don't add up, isn't it, Leticia?
no, it doesn't. So even when she was pregnant, when we wanted to see her come down the steps in front of the hospital and show the little bundle of joy, she didn't do that. And that's what I was like, why didn't she do that? And then it was she had the baby, and then she hadn't had the baby, and then Harry walks out. I mean, it was so much controversy around the birth of Archie. You didn't know what to believe. I started thinking, she don't have any kids.
She was already going against the grain from the beginning because she didn't like being told what to do. She didn't want to comply to the rules. So when there is a certain way of showing the baby, once the royals had a baby, they go to the steps. She didn't even go to the hospital that was recommended for
Do you think she was hiding something in that?
Well, it could be that, and also it could be the fact she doesn't like being controlled as well. So whatever she's told to go left, and then she'll go right because she went up against the monarchy from the very beginning, didn't she? Yeah. Everything had to be in a different way, and she became the awkward person within the household because she was always conflicting with everybody else and wasn't prepared to basically fall in line. Right. And that fueled Harry because he was already thinking about not falling in line anyway. He was already the rebel thinking, oh, I'm not really I'm the black sheep of the family. That's his mindset. So they both fuel each other. Now, it could be that she went and picked up a baby and that it was a surrogate. I don't know. It could be that. Like you say, every little bit you find out, you're putting it together and you're trying to work out the truth. And that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of. And this Maids interview really does, confirm and sway to that opinion that she wasn't pregnant because she said she didn't see her pregnant. So
she said, because I asked her, and you know what really did it for me was when she said, when I was curious to see the documentary because she knows the hell that was going on in that home, like they were all talking, like Teresa is in the chat and she's like, I worked as a domestic and we do have to sign NDAs. Even when you have the interview, it's true, wow. And she's like, and they see everything and they gossip. She says, we gossip about everything. So, and she said that they will all talk about that. So when she came and she says, I saw it out of curiosity, and she was absolutely blown away by everything she saw. Because listen to this, in the documentary or whatever show you want to call it, that clown show, they state that is their mansion. They don't say we rent the mansion. This is our mansion. This is what's happening. And this is why she said, unless they did that on weekends when I wasn't there, I didn't see any of that happening. She had no belly. I mean, I repeated that question like 4 or 5 times.
Did the maid volunteer?
Where did it come from?
Did the maid volunteer any information, like without you asking questions? Did she add anything?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Raven Creek Charms. It says, does the law mandate the royals' line of succession be official? Yes, it has to. It has to be transparent. And Parliament must ensure every person included in the line of succession belongs there. And how do they do that? With the documentation. They need to have the doctors you guys have seen what is posted outside with the signature.
It's just like what Victoria said. When we get down to the nitty gritty or get down to seeing if they are in line of succession, then they will have to show that proof, correct?
Of course they would, unless the laws change in the meantime.
Oh.
You don't.
The law is not retroactive. The law is not retroactive, Victoria. For example, if that were the case when the Prohibition era ended, what's his name? Al Capone would have been out because if you commit the crime while the law
whilst the law's in play, yes, I know. Yeah, I know. But what if? And somebody put in the comments earlier, what if the royal family were complicit in it?
Well, then
Now that's
that means
allegedly. I don't know, but you
Charles
don't. You
out of the
don't
hospital.
know.
That means
Are you
Charles,
saying that they knew and they
yeah,
didn't tell
that
us?
would mean that Charles is guilty of treason, because felony treason applies to us mortals who commit felony treason against the monarch. But if the monarch lies to its government, its people, or defrauds its people or government, it's called high treason, and he can be
But are
removed.
they lying to us? Or are they just not telling us?
Isn't that the same thing, though,
Okay.
Lady Letitia?
Yeah, Raven Creek Charms. Thank you, Paula. In this case, exactly. That is what I've been trying to do these past 4 years, asking for these documents. I've been telling you what the consequences are and everything else, and because it is considered fraud. Guys, if anything were to happen to William or George or anybody, let's say the Williamses go down, because Meghan Markle allegedly said we're only one plane crash away from being king and queen of England, which is true.
Oh,
Because
it is true. It's
William travels with his family, and the queen
she's
used to
getting
be mad at him.
closer and closer and closer to becoming queen. She's too close to the crown to
Yeah,
me.
she's not Beatrice or Eugenie, who are like 8 or 10 in line to the throne. We're
Right.
talking that he's fourth. I mean, he's fifth in line.
Right.
And when Charles moves, he goes fourth in line. But if William travels with his whole family by plane and by helicopter, and the queen told him, stop that shit.
Stop
You
doing
travel
that.
separately, but he doesn't listen. He travels with the entire family, which is why Meghan allegedly said, I'm only a plane crash away from being Queen of England.
That
Oh, is that
it's
what
true.
she says? Is that what she says?
Where did
Oh,
she say that
wow.
at?
Allege that.
Okay.
Wow. Allegedly, she said that. That is crazy. That is
Yeah.
a bit scary, actually.
That is. It is scary. Can you imagine Meghan being the queen of England? Let's just think about
Well,
it.
it's just scary that she even said that. If she did say that allegedly. Letitia well said, a lie by admission, just not telling. Yes, exactly. That's correct. And you also asked Paula earlier about the any. Just repeat your question to Paula again. I think she missed it.
Paula, the maid, did she volunteer any any information to you that you didn't ask?
Well, it's not that she volunteered. It's just that when she was talking, I was like, shit, really? It's like, for example, okay. Okay, she said when I talked to her and I said, who would come there? And then when she said, when she talked about the father, I was like, I met this person. It's like, for example, in the first interview, and I asked her what she did on routine basis, and then she starts telling me her routine. I'm like,
Okay.
what? I mean, just by her narrating her daily routine, for example, I was cleaning. One of her things was to go through the list when the people who were renting the house, we got the checkout. When she said that, she said to me a few things. First, that they're renting out the house.
I believe it.
You know what she said? Because she said, we had to ensure, that when they came, we gave them a list and they checked to make sure that everything was, and when they left, it was the same thing. We had to give the documents because they had to sign an NDA, and sometimes we had to take it with our manager. And, so if I ask you, Letitia, what did you do today? And then you tell me, well, I just went and had lunch with Celine Dion, and, she paid him. And like, but let's say you're part of your daily routine and you actually did go have lunch with Celine Dion or, whatever. And I'm like, oh shit, Celine Dion. Okay. Right. Without me asking, just by asking, what did you do in that house? You're telling me a lot.
Right. You're giving me a lot of information.
And the thing is that I didn't want to freak her out because
right.
I just want to say, what? So, but then I have to keep my cool because she might get scared that she's saying too much.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So she was quite rude. She was nasty. But the second, and this little one, I mean, like I said to her, because, when I asked her about the chicken coop, I wanted to ask her if she'd seen her kill any chickens.
Right.
But I didn't want to go there, when she said the chicken coop, and then I asked another question because that's how I wanted to do it. Just, talk about certain things, and then maybe she forget and ask her again. But because of the conversation,
like to cook the chicken coop, she would go there all the time, didn't she? The chicken coop.
Yeah, she said she went. Yeah, and I said, do they have a chicken coop? Because part of me thought that was made up. Well,
no, that was in her Netflix series. She had a chicken coop,
but then
didn't she?
She said that part was true.
And there
because they do have a chicken coop. but not the houses. Not when Meghan, for example, that mentioned that she was pregnant, that heavily pregnant in the house with that dress. She would have seen her if it was from Monday to Friday, from 6 in the morning
So
till 7:30 in the afternoon. You know, they didn't see any of that.
maybe she has been what's the word? What am I looking for?
She what?
Oh, come back to me. I've lost it.
Okay.
I had something really good there and it just disappeared. So with regards to Harry and his demeanor, did she give any inclination of what sort of, you
State.
know, yeah, his state of
Well, she
mind,
used a
what
word
how
in
he
Spanish.
responded?
Maybe somebody, if somebody here in the chat speaks Spanish, maybe you can help me translate this word into English because it's a funny word that we use in Spanish. Baboso. Él es un baboso. You know, él es un baboso. If anybody here, it's not dumb per se, because he's not really
Oh.
stupid, but baboso es como
Idiot.
dumb, you know, like, but it's not really dumb. It's like, es que baboso.
Idiot.
It's not, no, porque in Spanish is idiota. This word baboso means that you're not that smart.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, I have heard he's a little bit
A
on the
fool.
simpler side.
Thank you, Claudia Salas. He's a fool,
Oh,
baboso.
I
bumbling
know.
idiot.
For me, Claudia Salas. I love you, Claudia Salas. He said, él es un baboso. He's a fool. Yeah.
Idiot.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he's a fool
Oh.
also in the sense that he's not that
Yeah, but it was the way he treated her, she treated him, sorry. Was he, more introvert? Did he, was this is what I kind of want to get to in the root of is his whole demeanor changing as a person, is this coercive control? That's what I'm trying to get
Well,
to the
she
bottom
did
of.
say in the third interview, she did say that she felt bad. Claudia Salas, I love Harry. I know why you love him, Claudia. No, he's an idiot. He's an idiot. But
Well, yeah.
she said that she felt sorry for him porque es un baboso, pobrecito, poor guy, un baboso, he's a fool, you know, and she's so mean to him, she's so controlling, you know, he's
Wow.
almost scared of her, you know, it's like he's always walking like he's on eggshells, you know, and stuff like that, and it's like
Blaming
I
him
had to
for
tell her, I had
everything.
to educate her, and I said, do you know what this idiot did to his grandma and grandpa? And I told her everything. She's go, oh, and she still blamed her. But that's because she
Wow.
said, no, nobody's going to push me into trashing my grandparents. That you have to have something rotten inside of you to be able to do that.
The maid is describing how Meghan treats Harry to a T. That's how she treats him.
But
You
I
can't
don't like it because
help it.
she feels sorry for him, and I don't think she
Yes.
should be feeling sorry for him.
Well,
I
I think
know.
I have a sliver of sympathy there
Me
for
too.
Harry.
You know what? I'm not going to
But
stop doing this interview because I'm not going to
oh,
publish the
don't
third
do
interview.
that, Paula. You can't get offended by that.
Me, Harry.
Hashtag free Harry. I think that's great. Let's start one of them off.
Look at me. Yes,
Maybe what if she wasn't actually, she's two Megans out there and one was a clone in the house that wasn't pregnant and the other one was pregnant somewhere else. That could be a possibility. You never know. Anything's possible. I know that they're they're cloning dogs in Korea, so possibly that's
Wow.
happening. You just
I need
don't
to get their
know,
stuff.
Paula.
I don't forgive him what he did to his grandmother. I don't forgive the lies he did because he was aware of that. I don't forgive any of that. I don't forgive the heartache that he did, how petty he was. You know that the maid talks in the second interview, guys, because I asked her, I wanted to know who this writer was, right? You can hear her be upset with me when I said, but do you know if it was a writer? I don't know, Paula. She's like, you know, but
Yeah, she sounded like she was getting a bit annoyed with you, Paula. I don't know.
Everything was going at it, you know, it's really going at it. You know how, but I wasn't really,
Yeah, you were.
it's just that she
I
felt that I
think
was
you should be a police officer, to be honest with you. I think you'd
no,
be
it's
good.
just that I kept asking the
CID.
same questions because I couldn't believe it myself. So I figured maybe, you know how people trick you? They ask you one question and then you give an answer and then they talk about something else. And then you talk about another, and then you will go back to the same question to see if you get a different answer.
Yes.
So that's what I was doing, you know? And
You're like
in the third
you're
interview,
an interrogator in your heart, Paula.
no,
Should be so.
in the third interview, I said to her, um, so you told me, I even said to her, you told me that the kids were really cute. And she goes, which kids? Well, Harry and Meghan's, because I was trying to trick her to see if she
Yeah.
had told me that, you know. And she said, I have never told you that.
Yeah, she did sound like she was getting a bit annoyed with you, Paula,
No,
to be
Luis,
honest with
you're
you.
not gonna get into trouble with me. You can say anything. Just don't trash Megan Small, and I'm cool with that.
Yes.
But she
No,
said
she's
like,
saying
she said,
that her
she said, when
being
did I tell you about the kids? What, how can I tell you that kids I've never seen are cute? And she goes like, she almost hung up. She goes, what are you playing? You know, I'm giving
You
you my.
went too far.
Yeah,
yeah.
but I said it very casually. I said, you know
Hit
what?
that
I will say,
button.
can you tell me more what the kids look like? When you told me in the last
Mm.
interview, you told me that they were really cute, you know, like I'm like, and then I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I got confused with another interview I did about another person. I'm so sorry about that, you know. And she goes, oh, okay, I understand that. I said, yeah, because I was interviewed, but I was bullshit. I was just trying to trick her.
Well, you did a good job. It was very interesting. Let's just go back over that interview. Is there anything we've missed in this discussion today? Because I'm just trying to
Uvalde,
remember.
the Uvalde part.
Pardon?
Oh, well, Uvalde, yes, you said
Yeah.
that Harry was upset and didn't want to go to Uvalde.
He
And
didn't
that's
go.
Texas.
No,
Texas.
he
You're talking about
didn't go. He didn't go
Texas.
Uvalde. She's Texas.
Yeah.
It was around the time of the shooting because it involved the shooting, and he said that he didn't want to
Yes.
go out of
Yeah,
respect to the
anyway.
deceased and the family. And he did. This woman went within 72 hours. They hadn't even buried the children.
He said he
You
wasn't
know
going.
that, Latisha.
Yep, he said he wasn't going. Harry, I didn't know that until the interview, until you interviewed the maid, that he was upset about her going. So that was interesting.
Yeah. You know, for me, guys, and I know I'm very passionate about this on my channel, and this is why I started it because of my background and what I went through with my ex husband. I do not tolerate lies. I do not spew lies. My ex husband, through for 8 years, they tried to dig everything at me. They couldn't find anything nasty about me. You know what? I don't need a long memory because, you know, I don't have to remember which lie I told yesterday. So if you ask me something, I will always tell you the same thing because you know that's what it is. And I went through 8 years of being in every court. I won every court case. My ex, you know, in the government of Norway, the United States, and the third government, they try to get like dig anything, throw anything at me. And you know, I was a little old me without big lawyers, and all I had was the truth. Oh my God, that is so, she's so gorgeous. I want one.
Hello.
So
Hello,
imagine,
Baba.
hello, gorgeous. Oh, she's wearing
Hi.
lipstick.
I'm sneaking in mommy while she's doing her video.
Ah, you're beautiful girl. Hello.
Say
How are
hello.
you?
Guys, I don't care what you do. Buy this.
So,
This is
hello, baby. So, when she wanted to go down there, it was because she wanted to what? What was the reasoning for going to Texas again, Paula?
well, she said that it was a great time. It was great PR. That it was a great chance, you know, for PR. And Harry said, I mean, from what the lady said, he sounded like he was horrified. You know, it's like we can't do this. I mean, this guy with protocol, you know, he knows that. But even from a decent human perspective kind of thing, you don't do that.
So, yeah, so it's like she can't read the room. We've gathered that already, right? So then again, that links up to what we know about Meghan, that she doesn't read a situation and you know about social etiquette in general, because it's quite a crass thing to do to go there straight after that. And he knows that because he knows the world stage better than she does, right? And
Yeah,
what happened from that
well, she got
conversation,
it all
Paula?
excited. She said that they were all excited. And she came that we have to go, and then it's like, "Are you insane? Literally, are you insane? We're not going." He used the word "we," but then she looked at him. It's like, "You're not going, maybe, but I am," you know. And it's like, we can't go there. And she really started yelling really a bunch of vulgar things to him, and then you know, and she said that he was useless, that he was just as bad as his family, as cold-hearted as his.
Oh,
You haven't watched the video. Watch the video, Leticia. You're
that's
gonna
part one. Is that part one?
the second one.
This is the
Because I
second
watched
one.
part two. Okay.
So it's not a long
So
one. It's like 11 or 12 minutes, you know.
Okay,
But
I'll go back.
he was very mad. She was like, "Do I have to do everything for you? This is a great opportunity for our brand." And I'm like,
Right. Yes. That's what you did say that. Like, this is for our brand. And
And this
that's
again does sound like a Meghan thing to do, right?
but
So
she did go. She
oh
did
yeah.
go,
yeah,
didn't she?
she did go, yeah. But he didn't go.
She did go.
But he
Like an
didn't.
idiot.
No, he didn't. She did go. She did go. She rented
This was
herself a
the
plane
same time that
using
her
Mary's money.
father, this was during the same time her father had a heart attack or a stroke, wasn't it?
Hmm?
Yeah.
Paula, this was the same time Megan's father had a stroke.
I don't
Was
know. I don't know anything about that. I don't really
yes,
don't.
yeah, this was his second heart attack. And she went to the school to Uvalde instead of going to see him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was around the same time. I'm surprised you don't know.
I just want to say Christine Gilbert, Megan Small is very cool and my favorite Petty Betty. Mine too. Mine too. You know, she's my favorite Petty Betty too. I love her. So no,
Have you
I mean,
got a sneak preview for the teaser for interview 3,
well, the
please,
thing is, I
Paula,
don't know.
as requested
I
by
don't know.
Mo?
As I said, like I much rather that we do it on Sean's channel because he's got a bigger platform. Of course, Sean will find out the same thing I did, you know.
I'm
And
crying.
again, he can only interview her, and you know, he has no control. We don't know whether what she says is true or not, but it is a cool interview nonetheless, you know. And I know that the Sussex Squad will try to squash it.
Oh,
Will
so
try.
are you releasing your third one on Sean's platform?
No, I'm
No,
thinking of.
I think that's what they were asking
Yeah,
about, is the
because
third part.
if I release it, then it'll be repeating the same thing on Sean's
Yeah,
channel.
yeah. No, that what I'm saying is I think someone wanted a sneak preview of your third part of the next bit
Okay,
of
she
the
did say,
interview.
okay, well, okay, I asked her this. One of the things that she said, well, I didn't ask her that. I said, you know, who else did you see coming there and blah, blah, blah. And she said, when, you know, she had this gentleman who was not Marcus Anderson, whom she'd meet twice or three times a week. And they would go to the second floor, stay there for a couple or 3-4 hours, and sometimes they would bring them stuff and they would leave the trays outside of the room because they're not allowed to come in, and then later they would come and they would they would leave. And the guy is very good looking. Apparently the guy is very well off, but she only saw him like six or seven times that happened. So she was there and she said that she came with a guy, but it wasn't Harry because by then she knew Harry and it wasn't Harry. And they didn't go into the studios because they didn't have studios upstairs. The studios are downstairs. So they would go upstairs and they would leave the tray and stuff outside of the room, her bedroom. She also disclosed that Harry has a bedroom that is not Meghan's.
Right, so they sleep in separate rooms.
Because she said that to me. It's not like, oh, but did you know that they slept in separate rooms? No, she said, you know, we would make, you know, sometimes he would come and spend some time and take a shower in his room. And I said, oh, in his room? Yeah, you know. And then, you know, he's very messy, you know, and she's also very messy, but, you know, he always apologized when we had to come in and clean his room, you know, because, you know, but she didn't care, you know. So I
Didn't the
gathered
Queen,
from
didn't
that.
the Queen and Prince Philip share a separate? They had separate rooms, didn't they, as well?
But that's a different. No, remember that Harry and Meghan are deeply in love.
They
And Harry married for love. He's the only royal who married for love.
the Queen loved Prince Philip, though.
Oh, that's not what Harry said. He said that he broke the mold. He married for love.
No, they loved each other. We can't do that to
No,
me,
he's not
Paula.
one.
They loved
I
each
know
other.
he's not one. William married Catherine out of love. Edward married Sophie out of love. Even that idiot Andrew
Yeah,
married.
Meghan married him out of yeah.
Yeah,
He
but
was
Meghan Markle is bad.
CMP says some rich people do have different rooms. I think,
Not
yeah.
Meghan Markle. Harry and Meghan have made a point that they are so in love. I mean, we've seen Meghan in public, how she hangs on to this man. So you would only imagine what she would be in private. She would be, and they have said that they
When
love
married.
each other.
I think we should try a hashtag
No.
free Harry
No.
movement.
Free
Like,
Harry.
you know.
He's locked up in this.
So you see those kinds of things which she would tell me, oh, you know, when we used to clean the room, he was always on. He even left her a tip once.
He did?
Yeah, he
How
left
much
her
did he leave her? How much was it?
$100.
Lovely. Not too
Wow.
bad.
Yeah, because
Not a bad tip.
no, but not all, just once, because he felt really bad because something was very bad in their room and she cleaned it up. He threw up apparently, and she ended up cleaning everything,
Oh,
everything.
wow. Oh,
So
God, this
yeah,
is really juicy,
but she
Paula. I
was,
can't.
Yes.
okay. Can you imagine? I would ask her. So, what would you do to clean the house? I mean, I would say, and the third interview, were they messy or not? I would ask, and then she goes,
Yeah.
well, she was messy, but not as much as he was, because he was very messy and he was always apologizing because his room was always messy, whereas her room was, wasn't that messy. But then again, she wasn't always in the house. He would come more often at the later, so she
Wow,
didn't
they had
know what she
separate
was telling
rooms.
me. She didn't know she was telling me. She was revealing to me that they sleep in separate rooms, and then she says, and I was really excited because one time he left me $100 tip because, when he threw up so badly, he was messed
Oh,
up, and he felt really bad that, we had to clean all of that. He even soiled himself a little bit, and they had to,
wow.
and it's like, and I asked her, was it drugs or alcohol? And she says, I don't know, but I know that they took him to the hospital. So
Wow.
I don't even know what to say to that.
yeah.
Hopefully,
She's,
allegedly, this
they
is
were all
not
gossiping.
happening.
You know
Maybe
that they had bets going.
poisoning him.
They had bets going between the staff. They're all making bets. She's like, this guy's gonna be gone. She's the Black Widow. They were teasing. It's like they were making.
Yeah, putting stuff in his coffee and his tea.
I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, we've all had a heavy night before, haven't we?
Puked when I've been
that
drunk.
that
I'm not
that,
the
that
only
can
one.
happen. That's a human thing to do if you're intoxicated.
Yeah.
I
But this is
I passed out. I puked myself, so that's not a big deal. But
no, it's
to
not.
me,
Yeah.
it wasn't the big. But he did go to the hospital. That means it was intoxicated or something. Because
Oh, he
I've
went to
never
hospital,
been to the
yeah.
hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a little too
Usually,
much.
if I'm drunk and
Allegedly.
I pass out.
Yes, I mean that is quite interesting, isn't it? And I think is he dependent on certain things because of his situation? Is
Well,
he
he's a self-admitted drug addict or prolific drug consumer. I don't think that this man is being supervised in his intake of those drugs, to tell you the truth. I think it's free reign, and they try to. Okay, I have
Because
this.
it's legal over there in California. He can just go
For
into
him,
the
Latisha, not for him because he's in a visa. State law does not apply to him. It's federal law that applies to him.
Mm.
This is why, like they want to know if he's. This is why the Heritage Foundation wants to know what he typed on that visa, because he's gone on every platform saying that he's doing drugs. In his book, he wrote that he was rolling a joint while Meghan slept inside Tyler Perry house. That is a crime. That's a federal crime.
If he got deported, you think Megan would go with him?
Oh no, that'll be the best answer for Meghan in her life. I think that'll be the answer to all her prayers.
Yeah, I do too.
when's the third one coming out, Paula?
No, I told you. I think that we're gonna. I don't know. I think I'm gonna talk to see, and if she wants to come into to Sean's, that would be the best, because I don't want to repeat it. So, and we can send her.
No,
That's
yeah.
actually a good idea. Send her the questions. I just want to say something. I know I talk a lot, but I just want to say something here. My beef with Meghan and Harry, first, is the bullying and their behavior of the Queen, and all the shadiness and all the craziness they do using a royal title of an institution that represents me, because I am Canadian. Okay, it's not Harry Mountbatten Windsor who's lying about the birth of those children. It's the Duke of Sussex. It's not Henry Mountbatten Windsor who went to British Columbia pretending to talk to the native chief, saying that he's going to solve all the very culturally delicate problems, in among the tribes. Is the Duke of Sussex who said who's going to come back next year on behalf of the crown to do that. It is not Henry Mountbatten Windsor's nor Rachel Meghan Markle who went to Nigeria. It was the Royal Highnesses, Prince Harry and Meghan, and the Duchess of Sussex. And they went and did all those crazy things, insulting a whole nation with the lack of protocol and everything else. It's not Meghan Markle who wrote to Congress. It was the Duchess of Sussex. It is not Meghan Markle who's calling senators for politics. It is the Duchess of Sussex. So and We have those children in the line of succession and they refuse to present the documentation. I am not being unreasonable asking, as a Canadian whose head of state is King Charles, and the line of succession has a lot of privileges and a lot of consequences, I am not asking the world to have it confirm that these children meet the legal requirements to be in the line of succession.
I think at some point they will, because if it gets closer, they're going to have to investigate that. But Paula, do you think that, why do you think all the stuff you just said about the too gruesome, twosome, do you think that Meghan literally hates, dislike the royal family so much that she continues to treat them in this such a disrespectful way, like the jam and the biscuits coming out? You know, what is her hatred that is so, what is it about them that she just, that has gotten her so wrapped up into her whatever, to the point where she's losing who she is? She's lost herself.
I don't think she's lost herself. I think we're
Or
seeing the real Meghan. I think this is the real Meghan.
real
This is
Meghan.
it's always been. I mean, we're just seeing it on a bigger public scale. I've always said that Meghan Markle, this kind of behavior doesn't happen overnight, Leticia. This is a this is something that she's used to doing. She did it to her childhood friend. She doesn't have any friends from childhood. Nothing. And she's disregarded people all her life. You know, to me, it's just that now that she's in a public platform, her behavior is more public. So we're able to see more publicly the real Meghan. One of the things that, and you know why she hates them? Because she resents the fact that they're better than she is.
That's it.
Well, that's what we
Like
discussed
she's
about
in
Victoria.
competition with them. Like there's a, like I'm in competition with my family, with my husband's family. Like I hate them so much that I'm not even going to let them see the kids anymore. Or
But I
even
think that's a control thing, isn't it? That's isolating him from his family to control and be the only person with an opinion within his life, and to, you know, if you've got lots of different inputs, then you're going to make a more of a balanced decision about certain things. If you've got one person only in your life, you're just going to look to them for guidance, and that's what she wanted. She wanted that, just her alone, to be able to control his movements and how he behaves. By the looks of how she is behaving, this all kind of fits in with that theme, doesn't it?
yes,
It's the
very
isolation.
well said.
Yeah, you know. But yeah, I don't know what was the topic before. We've just completely gone off.
Or as I said, I don't mind. And I know people come at me because I put very hard questions, because this shouldn't be happening. If they were transparent, the power that Meghan and Harry have is the fact that they have made the royal family complicit in all this craziness.
Yeah.
And now the royal family have to ride this no matter what.
They do. They don't have a choice. She's in the family. We can't like kick her out, unfortunately. And Harry's determined to keep her by his side.
I think both of their behavior is embarrassing anyway, and
Yeah.
this is, you know, they're endlessly embarrassing the royal family. But to what degree? You know, there is elements of this that are darker than others, and
Yes.
we're still untapping, you know, the levels of it. And some, like you say, it's to do with the children. You know, if there is this domestic abuse going on allegedly behind the scenes, it all feels a lot more sinister than what we originally thought. You know, a lie. Some people tell white lies, and some people go even further into the depths of lying and being deceitful. And so, how far is it going to go? And what are
Right.
we going to find out? And this Maid interview now that's come out, you know, is this opening the gateway for other people to come forward and go, oh, do you know
Right.
what?
Good question.
You know, how much is going to unravel from this interview? Because I think you make other people feel that they can come forward. When one person speaks,
Right.
it's a snowball effect. Do you not think that
Mhm.
might happen, Paula?
Well, yeah,
Look
just
what happened. Look
Oh,
what happened to the people who came out and talked to Valentine Lowe about the bullying. Look how badly attacked they were. This is why they went
Right.
private, and they didn't want to disclose who they were, because they knew they were opening themselves for a huge attack, because Meghan Markle is ruthless in the people she releases onto others. I know that this poor maid, she doesn't have any resources or anything, but yet people don't want to afford her the same courtesy that they afforded the palace staff, just because she's not British or she's not posh or anything else. People understand that Valentine Lowe needs to respect the privacy or the secrecy
Right.
of the people thing, but they don't want to do that. I don't know if because she's just a maid, like people have said, and she's Latino, and therefore she's not worthy of being respected or being taken care of or being considered for her own safety. That's what it boils down to. But I do hope that if they see that I am able, because I will never say who she is, that I am able to protect her thing. Even if people come and trash me, I do not give an F.
I think more and more people are starting to come out, even mainstream media. And I think they are tired of Meghan shenanigans, because I think what shocked me the other day when we were talking, TMZ to come out and start talking about dog biscuits, really opened my eyes to see that people aren't that afraid to come out and speak out against these two as much as they were in the past. So I do see a switch in it, Victoria. Do you kind of see like some accountability? That's what it's going to boil down to. Like when her lies are exposed, that's accountability, because she's not going to take accountability for it.
Well, the more people that come out, and the
Against her.
more, yeah, I think that the more that comes out, it's very difficult to back yourself, because
Right.
it's very similar to the P Diddy case. You not that I'm not comparing the two as the same people, but the more people that have come out about P Diddy, the less viable his story is, because there's so many
Exactly.
people that's speaking about him now. It's very difficult to stand, and we've actually seen evidence as well, video
Right.
evidence, and
And they're not afraid. They're not
yes,
afraid of the
yes,
backlash and the suing, and the squad is coming
because
after
a
us.
whole group of people can't be sued. It's only
Right.
the individual, and they can be censored and they can be shut down. But when you've got a whole army of people, it's a case now,
Right.
but
And
but
I
but
think
is there a case for her? How is she, as vile as people are making out? Is she doing these terrible things to Harry? This is where we're just like chipping away at the surface at the moment,
right.
because we
You
have
know what's
one
gonna do?
person
What
to
you know how many
validate that.
persons could be in the media? You know what? The media already knows my channel, because I know they published stuff before. Daily Mail has posted stuff about my channel. Okay, they know about this, but nobody wants to touch this. It's just like the media. You know the palace staff that was bullied, they reached out to the media, and the media refused to publish anything. So they reached out to Valentine Lowe because the
Because
media
they're being
is
censored.
complicit.
Well,
The
guys,
media.
I do apologize. I
I have
have
to
to
get going.
run.
Me too, have to
That's
get
fine.
going.
We're wrapping up anyway, Letitia. Don't
Okay.
worry. Thank you so much for joining us. You're an absolute legend. Thank you very
Oh,
much for
I
coming
love you
on.
guys
And I
so
love
much.
your opinion. You're amazing.
And
I
thank
know
you
it was
so
a
much
bit
for
it was
everybody
a
else
bit last minute,
supporting
wasn't it? But we made it on. We made it on.
I
Thanks
hope
for
you're
joining
supportive
us.
of the maid. I hope
I
you're
was
supportive of the maid.
subscribe to Letitia. I put her link in the description box. So please go to her channel and subscribe. Thank you very much.
Bye, lovely ladies. I love you
Bye.
guys. And
Bye,
love
guys.
you,
Bye. Love you
Jack.
lots.
Have
Bye.
a
Bye. Bye.
wonderful. Bye-bye.
I've also put Paula's description links and blah 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 all in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. But Paula, thank you for coming on tonight and going through the interview with us. I think there's a bit more we could probably talk about, but we could cover that on
On
Saturday.
Saturday, will, yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, guys, let's keep in mind that this is a lady of very little means. She didn't ask for a penny. She just got fed up of Meghan Markle putting her side of the story and continued to mistreat people, because she said that nobody speaks out and she was so badly treated. You know, we all I can tell you, I repeat again, is that she's not lying where she worked. She's not lying who she is. She did not leave the agency in bad with bad references. They gave me glowing references. She was very open. She was not like the kind of, oh, and did you know? No, 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 no. It was nothing. Well, you heard her on the interview. It's too bad you couldn't hear the Spanish one because you would be able to hear her tone of voice. But yeah, you know, I hope, because you guys know that I will be getting a lot of Sussex Squad and they will try to discredit that interview. So it's incumbent upon you to make sure that we push this forward. So do share that video. You know, like as it is, stuff like that. YouTube does not push it forward because we are fighting a Meghan Markle thing. They do suppress a lot of stuff that we put out, and especially this one. I know that I'm under Bosie's radar. I know because he posted tweets about me for the first time in March after I talked about posting this thing. And so please go and try to combat this because I know there's going to be a lot of nasty comments in there for the lady or whatever. I can take care of myself. I'm a big girl, but it would be nice if we show support because then maybe other people will come forth. You know how that we have to encourage other people to speak out. So that's why
It will be interesting to see what happens after this, you know, especially if I mean I know Sean's platform is he's got a lot of subscribers, and you know if she does go on the raw mess, it would be quite explosive. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what stems from it and what direction this goes in from here on out. But it, you know, what she's saying, it makes sense. I can't really debunk most of it. So I do think it's genuine. I do think she's got a genuine voice. And you know, the way she explains it, it's not kind of like a made up story,
no,
if you
she
get my
was just,
drift.
and also the way I phrase the questions. You know, for example, if I ask, "What did you do today, Victoria? What did you do today?"
Mm, mm. What did I do today? Went to work.
Okay, what did you? And then what did you do?
Came home and cleaned and
What else?
cooked.
Uh-huh.
That's it. That's it. That's my glamorous
What did you
life.
cook today? What did you cook today?
Bolognese.
Okay,
Lovely bolognese.
and
Oh,
okay, you.
do you know what? I feel like. Do you know what? I feel like I'm in a police interview for some
No,
reason.
but you know, I'm asking you. You know those kinds of things. You know, I asked her. So, what did you do today? What was your routine?
Yeah,
Because I
no, I know. And
didn't know what
she
to
no,
ask her. You know.
she gave a really good account of what she saw, I think. But yeah, like you say, it's and also if anyone, it's people are gonna try to say that it's not true because you're gonna get
Yeah,
people
but
on the other end
I'm
of it.
trying to encourage her to come and do the interview with Sean because
Yeah.
she was really demoralized with that thing with that YouTuber who trashed me and trashed her, saying, "Oh, she's a Latino maid." It's like, how racist are you, mother effer? You know,
Oh, I know, I know, I know. There's
I
always
was
some
uncalled for.
idiot out there. I just want to say thank you to everybody in the side chat. You've been absolutely incredible tonight. Really nice. And I appreciate all my mods. So Bear and Lisa, you're doing an excellent job. Really appreciate you. What else do I need to ask you to do? Comment, like, share, protect me from anyone.
Thank you very much for
Thank you
having
for
me.
joining us. I will
Have
see you
a nice
guys soon. See you Saturday, 9 p.m. Yeah, 9 p.m. Saturday night with
Don't hang up on me. I just want to say something to you a couple of minutes after we hang up.
okay, yeah, sure, no problem. I'm just gonna put a quick disclaimer up just because today's just been slightly controversial. There we go. Nice disclaimer. Thank you for watching, guys. Appreciate you. Take care. Bye bye bye. Good night.
Awesome.